Can I tell you the biggest difference I've noticed between an entrepreneur making 25K, 50K per month versus an entrepreneur that makes 5K, 10K per month? And it doesn't have anything to do with their AI stacks, right? It doesn't have anything to do with the agents they have built, their marketing plan. You know, everybody's been, a lot of folks that in the last 4 or 5 months have built out these agents, these Claude agents, to automate their workflows in the business. That is not the biggest difference I've noticed, right? It doesn't have anything to do with your AI stack. It doesn't have anything to do with intelligence or marketing or who's grinding harder. All right, I've seen it from both sides. Somebody's making 25K versus somebody making 10K, right? The difference is attention. One group focuses on everything that's going wrong in the business, right? Their attention is on sales being down. They didn't hit their target for the last quarter. The team that they built, right? The overall climate that people have stopped buying, right? People are tired of subscription services and various things, right? The economy is definitely tightening up, right? Their attention to the global scale of everything that's going on globally, right? That's the pattern I'm seeing between the 25, 50K per month person versus the person that's generating 5, 10K per month in income from their business, from their investments, is the tension. The folks that are making the 50, 25, 50K, their attention is on the business, right? It's not a scattered mind, right? Their attention is not scattered all over the place, right? Both of them living in the same economy. We've all, both the 25K and 50K person is living in the same economy with the 5K, 10K person, but their attention is focused on the right things in the business. So, where's your attention at right now? Right now, where is your attention? Where has it been? Is it scattered? Right? Are you chasing everything that's new that's coming out? Every time there's an upgrade to a software, are you chasing that? Every time the president makes an announcement, are you frustrated or happy about that? Where is your attention going? Where your attention goes, energy flows. That's a universal principle. Where your attention goes, energy flows. You got to think of your thoughts like seeds. So wherever you focus on, it grows. In real talk, I'm going to say something that's very controversial. Very controversial, especially right now, to be saying. But if you really think about this, just think through this for a second. If you really think about it, money isn't the most valuable asset you have. Yeah, I said that. I just said that. Money is not the most valuable asset that you have. Attention is. Why? Because attention creates money. money doesn't create attention. You can always make more money, right? You can't make more time. Once you spend your attention up on something, it's gone forever. Every minute that you're giving your attention to one thing is a minute that you can't get back, right? So again, what is your attention on right now? It's a real question. If I give two entrepreneurs right today, 100K today, one entrepreneur puts all their attention on stress, the fear of today, inflation is high, interest rates is cooking, the market feels like it's inflated by 2 or 3 tech companies. If that's where their attention is every day, right? Give them 100K and their attention's on the stress and the fears of today. And the other entrepreneur with the 100K puts their attention on solving customer problems, right? Solving for problems in their business. Who do you think will be more richer or have more income 5 years from now? Right? The difference between the entrepreneurs wasn't the 100K. It was where their attention went. That makes sense? If your income is stuck right now in your business or your investments, sales are declining right now, it could be that your attention span has gotten shorter and shorter over the months, right? Maybe over the years. I had just did a call with an individual just recently, was it Monday or Tuesday this week? Just did a call. The person didn't even recognize this. I declined not to work with the individual, and it's just I didn't feel like it was a good fit for the work I do. But during the conversation, we was talking about your morning routine, and she actually just created a YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel is blown up. I think she got over 70,000 subscribers, and she's making $2,000 or $3,000 a month off affiliates and AdSense. But I asked her, I said, what did the morning looks like for you? And she said that she's a lot of times she gets stuck on TikTok. Like she's just scrolling TikTok and lose time. And I was like, and she don't have any kids or not married, no kids or anything like that. But she was saying that, her mornings are tied into TikTok. And right away, I could see some of the bottlenecks that she might be having in her investments in her business, based on that early conversation. And it probably could be a lot more with other things, frequency and other things, but that's one of the things I can notice. So, a lot of people that do a lot of talking, a lot of woofing about how much they want to be a boss. Right? We hung out with a couple of buddies. We watched, cigar spot downtown DC. Hung out with a couple of buddies, and one of the guys was talking about, man, I'm trying to be my own boss. He has a goal of not working. He's currently working as a advisor to a government agency. And he said that, my 20 years of this experience, that I can really branch off. And I told him, hey, man, won't you don't say in 5 years. That's loser talk. Don't, he got frustrated because I said that, but I did it intentionally. It was meant to drive the competitiveness out of him. But, I told him, man, that's loser talk. Don't say 5 years I'm going to be financially free. You say, I'm going to do it now. I'm it. It went over his head, but you get the point. But he was saying this, right? That, hey, my goal is to, I'm going to leave this company, become financially free, because I'm going to be my own boss. And, they got an online business. They started. I think he's been running. I think, for maybe 2-3 years now. This online business that he's been. So anyway, he's been running a business for 2 or 3 years now, and there's one thing that I have to say. Right, we'll never work together because it's too close to home for me. We just, I've known him for 20 something years. But the one thing is his attention. He says that he's going to be financially free in 5 years. I said, to me, that's loser talk. I don't know why he's calling out time in the first place, right? They know I can get holistic in our, even over a couple of drinks, they know that I'm still going to keep it 100. But if you pay attention to his attention, when he goes to work, he tells me that he listens to sports talk radio, right? So 5-6 hours of the day, he's listening to sports talk radio. Instead of learning, listening to a podcast on business, right? But he listens to sports talk all day. On his way home from work, he said it takes him 90 minutes to get home from downtown. He's listening to sports talk radio, right? He's looking at highlights on Instagram, right? He's in a fantasy league. I think he told me he's in like 4 or 5 fantasy leagues that he participates in, right? We used to have a league together one time. We played together, a 10-team fantasy league. But he plays in 4 or 5 fantasy leagues, right? Arguing about trades and all the stuff that goes on in the fantasy world. If you've done fantasy before. Then the weekend comes, every conversation is about football players, about teams, about records. Nothing about business. Nothing about ideas, services, leveraging technology, streaming. There's nothing in that bucket at all. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with enjoying sports and entertainment. That's not the lesson. The lesson is the tension. How can you become financially free in 5 years, as you quote? But your attention is always on sports, right? And you know what happens. A few months later, they call, something happens at the job. They call, they get ready to lose their job. The job does a reorg, reorg and reset, because just how fast the economy is moving as far as just scalability and just the technology allowing to streamline processes and jobs, right? 3 months later, a reorg happens probably, and you know what's going to happen. They're going to call and say, I don't know why my business ain't growing. And you could give it to them, right? It's like, hey man, your business ain't growing because look where your attention is. Or you can let it fly. Leave that over there. The point is not to be critical. This just it's not a judgment or anything. I'm just giving this as a story that you can take for yourself when it comes to your business. right? You can want to grow your company, your business, your investments from 10K per month to 100K. You can have the best business plan in the world. You could set up a good team around you. You could set up agents that is working to streamline everything around you, automate everything. But if your attention is on things you are missing in the business, right? If your attention is on, I don't got enough views in the business, this YouTube channel that's supporting the business is not, I'm not getting enough views to streamline customers. If your attention is on the stress that there are less buyers in the market right now, eventually your business will reflect your frequency. Why? Because your decisions will begin to mirror your state. As within, so without. Your inner world is projecting your outer world, right? The cause is your inner world. The effect is your outer reality, the reality, your 3D, your business, your income. You can't change an effect with an effect. I know everybody's first focus, right? Everybody. 99% of the clients, potential clients, anybody that gives me emails, DMs, anything I get, 99.9% of the time, they are trying to fix an effect with an effect. You can't do that. Everything has a cause and effect. To fix the effect, you have to fix the cause. What is the cause? The cause is you, your inner space, your frequency, your identity that you're operating from. Change the frequency, change your identity, and the effect will play out in your business. Your thoughts, people don't understand this, but your thoughts carry emotional energy, right? Every thought that you have, that you're thinking about right now, carries emotional energy. And that energy, it shapes what you create. It actually shapes what you attract into your life. If we're going to keep it 1,000. Your mind is emitting particles, right? Everything is particles. Everything is atoms, protons, and neutrons, electrons, right? Everything is active. Everybody thinks the environment that you're in is still, right? You might be stuck, can't get over the hump right now in your business or whatever you're doing in your weight loss journey. Call it out, whatever you're doing. You might be stuck, but nothing is stagnated. Everything is moving. Everything is particles. Particles have some type of intelligence with it, right? Everything, this right here, this steering wheel, the tree in front of me, is all active. A particle will be at rest until it gets a command from your frequency. That's why, people play it cheap. Sometimes I hear people like, hey man, I started thinking about this car and now I see cars everywhere. That's not a coincidence. Nothing is coincidence in the universe, right? There's no randomness to the universe. Everything is patterns. The moment you think about a black Cadillac Escalade, that particle will start materializing into form. Right? Now your attention can see 1,000 black Cadillac Escalades every day. And eventually it becomes yours. Right? That's how it works. Your subconscious mind, that's how it works. This is why your attention matters so much. That's why I said earlier, what I see, the difference between the individuals I work with that's at 25, 50K versus somebody's at 5, 10K is that person that's making 25, 50K, their attention. The person at 5 or 10K, the attention span usually is a short attention span, and they're focused on the missing things in their business, the lack of things in their business. And as I said earlier, as within, so without. You're projecting your reality. Everything you're experiencing, you're projecting. As Michael said, you got to start with the man in the mirror, right? You can't change the mirror. I can't do anything with the mirror. When I look in the mirror, I can't, I could put Windex on it, clean it, just so I could get a cleaner look at myself. But if I want to change myself, I can't go and scrape the mirror. Right? I got to start within, change my inner self to project the desired reality that I want. So whatever keeps capturing your attention, it's going to become real in your experience. Man, that's a highlight. You got to write that down as a highlight. Whatever keeps capturing your attention becomes more real in your experience. And why does it happen again? One final time. Let me just make sure this is clear. This happens because your subconscious mind is looking for trends and patterns that you're thinking about, that your attention is on. And your subconscious mind is going to project that reality back to you based on what you focus on. It's almost like YouTube, right? It's almost like the YouTube algorithms. It's constantly, the algorithm in YouTube is constantly paying attention to you, what you're watching, what you thumbs up, right? What you comment on, which videos you're scrolling past, right? That's how YouTube works. It's trying to notice your patterns, and then it's going to give you more of what you've been paying attention to. Right? The same way, just how your subconscious mind works. It's the same exact way. It's watching what your attention goes to. I was out with a client back in June of this year. And he was so excited. This client lives out in Ashburn, Virginia. He was so excited to show me pictures of his new car. Right? He had some pictures on Instagram that he was dying to show me. So he pulled up the chair next to me and showed me his new car. Right? I mean, definitely a flex. Anyway, what happened was when he was showing me the new car, the photo disappeared. Right? So he started scrolling, trying to find the new car he got. But as he was scrolling, it was one picture after another of Instagram models. And I looked at him and I asked him, hey, what's going on? What's going on here? He laughed and said, man, I don't know how to stop Instagram from showing me this stuff. Now, I don't know if he was playing on me or he was just trying to, play dumb, or I don't know what he was trying to do. But to me, I can't believe he didn't understand how the algorithm works. And I told him, I said, all right, you know what, let me play with this. All right. I said, look, man, yeah, you got to reset your algorithm in Instagram. So you got to stop clicking on that content. He said, I don't click on the content. It just, it just appears. I said, you got to start like engaging with the things that actually you want to see. And then Instagram will reflect that back to you. And so he's, I don't know if he's playing it off or not, but he's like, oh, okay. I don't know. But I could feel it was a little bit embarrassing to him. And, I know he was trying to make a good impression, with showing me the car he purchased, but it made me think, how many people are living inside an algorithm they created from internal, right? They are projecting this algorithm they created and didn't realize it. And they don't realize, here's the hard part. They don't realize that they're in the algorithm. Have you ever noticed this? Like, Instagram will sometimes throw you completely random posts in your feed, right? To see if it grabs your attention, right? Your feed can be set up right now. You can be set up that you're looking at all Claude AI videos, how people are using agents, business, entrepreneur content. Then all of a sudden there's a video about grilling steaks or a luxury vacation or totally something unrelated, right? Because it's testing you. Is that random post enough to pull your attention away from what you intentionally want to consume? Every time you engage with it, you're teaching the algorithm what you deserve your attention to, or what you focus your attention to. Same thing with your real life. Right? What kind of algorithm are you operating under with your business? What patterns are you seeing every day? You can change that. Just focus your attention on the things that you want. Life is going to always reflect the patterns you keep reinforcing, all right? We just talked about that. The subconscious mind, how it works. Life will continue to reinforce the patterns that you put your attention to. So how do you rebuild your attention? Right? There's so much stuff that's grabbing our attention today. How do you rebuild the attention? I'm gonna tell you something. First and foremost, you just gotta treat your attention like a muscle. It takes practice, right? You gotta build that muscle. My mentor gave me an exercise that was, first of all, let me be clear. The ELF exercise changed me, really changed me forever. That's how impactful it was. But it's a grueling exercise. Very grueling. I'm gonna share it with you today. I haven't used this exercise with any clients up to this point, but I might put it into my arsenal because it's one of the ones that changed me. I did it 10 years ago. I did it 10 years ago, and I did it again with my mentor back in the pandemic, where I've spent a lot of time working on, so I meditate every day. I do a lot of awareness stuff. I am aware of my thoughts. I am aware of the space between my thoughts, right? The pandemic really shifted, right? So my mentor gave me this exercise that I'm gonna share with you today. So what I had to do in this exercise was that I was given a matchstick, right? A little small matchstick, one of those matchsticks that you use to start a fire. So I had a matchstick. It was about this size, about this size. And the instructions was to look at the matchstick, right? First I had to meditate. So still the brain, right? So be still, relax the mind. I actually did a full body scan, so where I focus on the different body parts, right? My toes are relaxing, my fingers are relaxing, just kind of going through my whole body, right? So I did that for about 10 minutes, relaxed my body, and then I slowly opened my eyes, and I had a matchstick in my hand. And the instruction was to observe this matchstick for 30 minutes. No phones, no music, no distractions. 30 minutes, okay? And the challenge was to notice it, okay? Focus your attention on it, notice it. Notice the colors, the texture, the shape of the matchstick, right? For 30 minutes. Don't label it. When your mind goes to try to start classifying it and putting it into different buckets, or start trying to tell stories. Hey, you remember this time when you was getting ready to cook on the grill? All this stuff. Simply observe, but stay focused on the matchstick. This was torture. Your mind is constantly wandering. And you realize how much little control you have on your attention, right? 30 minutes was hell. She told me her mentor had her do it for an hour. So she was passing me some bail on it, 30 minutes. But that exercise really though, a real talk, I mean, keeping it, straight. It wasn't about the matchstick, the exercise. It was about reclaiming control of attention. Right? It's almost like it's a muscle, right? You got to train it, your attention. But try to exercise. If you feel like right now you're building a business, or you're growing your business, or whatever you're doing, personal stuff, whatever, relationship, whatever, and you feel like your attention is scattered all over the place, try to exercise. It don't have to be a matchstick. It could be whatever. It could be a glass, a candle, whatever. The object is really not the play. It's really, can you focus on it without telling stories, without classifying it, categorizing it, allowing the mind to take over of you, right? That's the exercise. I might end up putting that into one of my mentoring sessions, because I think that one I did it again in 2020, and it really. And maybe I'll do it again as I think through it. Maybe I should do it again. But nevertheless, that's one of those exercises you can try if you're struggling with just your attention span, or just how to stay focused on something without allowing your attention to take control of you. So I got a program called Pythagorean X. It's a 6-month mentorship program. And it's not for individuals that are just getting off the porch, right? Just jumping off the porch, getting into business. It's for a type of person, a person that's looking for more of a holistic perspective to their business, right? Some of the stuff that we talked about today, right? It's a 6-month program, and we meet to talk, right? Most of the time it's just chopping it up, right? But there are work that needs to be done, especially when it comes to subconscious blocks that we have. Sometimes we are not aware of those blocks that's stopping us from bringing the reality that we wanted to experience. The link should be in the description of this video. Also, I got a free resource, the Divine Identity Blueprint. Right, some of the fundamental stuff that we talked about today: identity shifting, your frequency, awareness, strengthening your awareness, being the ability to be aware. It's another skill, just like attention, but it's another skill. Understanding the space between awareness, right? So, final thoughts. Imagine your attention is a flashlight. Right? Wherever you point that flashlight, That's the only part of the room you can see, right? The room doesn't change. Only what becomes visible changes, right? Because you flash the flashlight. Now, ask yourself, where have I been pointing my flashlight? And that's the drive.